How you and your brand respond to external turbulence such as market friction, competition, and systemic industry shifts dictates your ultimate longevity. Rigidity fractures, flexibility endures. Welcome to Built to Sway, the podcast for low key visionaries. I'm Dana Hewling, creator of the Low Key Visionary and lead steward and CBO at BID. If you're an introverted, reserved, or neurodivergent leader, you've likely been told that to build an impactful brand, you have to play the loud, performative games of the internet personality economy. You've been forced to choose between two exhausting extremes, screaming for attention or staying completely invisible. Built to Sway is the moat in a sea of noise. This show is a dedicated sanctuary for high-level experts, consultants, and founders who want to stand in their undeniable authority without sacrificing their privacy or peace. With each episode, I reframe misconceptions and construct the supports that keep you from leaking authority without the hype typically promoted. To kick things off, we're unpacking why rigid businesses break in high winds. In structural engineering, the tallest skyscrapers are never built to be entirely rigid. If they were, the high altitude winds and seismic shocks would cause the concrete to fracture and the steel to snap. Instead, they're explicitly engineered to sway, utilizing internal systems known as tuned mass dampers to absorb external forces so that the building can adapt without ever losing its footing. For visual reference, a tuned mass damper is a massive steel pendulum suspended inside the top floors of a skyscraper. When the wind pushes the building left, the pendulum sways right, neutralizing the kinetic energy produced by external forces. Your life, your energy, and your business require the exact same physics. Yes, marketing and positioning aren't the only issues. External forces could also include family pressures, economic fluctuations, hiring struggles, or financial stresses. Regardless of your scale or industry, to have longevity, you and your business need intentional structure and systems. Think personal tuned mass dampers to effectively withstand what most won't. If you're religious, it might help to view your faith as an internal tuned mass damper already at work. Faith steadies us mentally and emotionally, which we can feel physically during times where the environment otherwise feels turbulent. We've heard the stats. Roughly 49.4% of businesses fail within their first 5 years, 65.3% close within 10, and only 25% make it past 15 years. Revenue isn't the only saving grace either. The scale, adding to the complexity of operations, number of people in play, and more overall cards on the table, scale creep and or lacking the right infrastructure can cause a $10 million enterprise or a leader with 20 years of experience to struggle with or crumble under the weight of their own growth, a compounding operational friction we call structural debt. 2025 to 2026 has been unprecedented, with many seasoned professionals and leaders expressing seeing some of the hardest times since their founding years. Add in media, technology, and an increasing tax on humanity, the market has become louder, faster, and more demanding of our personal presence than ever before. With our society evolving at extraordinary rates, some of the systems we use need to evolve too. To build anything worth the investment is a steep hill to climb. Social media may glamorize entrepreneurship or leadership, but they require an endurance that will often have you questioning why you're even building in the first place. I've led BID for over a decade, and sometimes I wonder where the years went. There have been many situations that should have broken me and had us shut our doors. The key to our endurance as a company and mine as a leader is that we're both built to sway when forces get turbulent. I've worked in brand development and marketing for a long time. We've had the privilege of working with many clients across a variety of industries and tenures. Some have grown with us over the years, And the common thread is them building and standing in their undeniable authority. Some of those visionaries love the spotlight and seek it out, creating all the content and being anywhere and everywhere. The noise doesn't faze them. However, most of the visionaries I build with are similar to me in that they prefer to be behind the scenes doing the work, protecting their peace and preserving their energy. Selfishly, I want to see more brilliant people not living in fear that they have to put their lives on display for an ounce of recognition that fades the moment they stop performing. Plus, there's entirely too much shallow fluff and performers pretending to be experts. Despite the prominent narrative, you don't have to dance for the algorithm just to be known. Low key visionaries can build visibility with the right structure and systems that allow their authority to speak for itself while they live a low key life. Is it easy? No. But nothing truly worth having really is. Honestly, the hardest part is usually the starting, breaking down some of those misconceptions of what you've been told you need to do to market your personal or company brand, and then building consistency, whatever that may look like for you. We're just breaking ground, and there's more to come as we progress. So think of this also as orientation. If you thrive on activity based marketing, posting 3 to 5 times per day, every day, attending countless events, and living by shallow metrics like impressions and follower count, these conversations aren't for you. Throughout the program, I'll be oscillating between two modes, the architect and the steward. Additionally, I will be speaking to both the enterprise and the humanity. For enterprises, we have the structure needed to stabilize growth and support long term endurance. And we have the systems needed to better support the people within those enterprises. And for individual leaders and senior professionals, we speak to the structure needed to carry the weight of your authority and support long term endurance, as well as the systems needed to better insulate your load bearing humanity. For those of you who have made it this far, I sense an early commitment to the build, and respectfully, I love that for you. Before I close the logs on this pilot briefing, I want to assign a low key diagnostic exercise to those of you who are committed to the build. Think of this as your baseline site inspection. Open a blank note on your phone or simply run the numbers in your head. First, look at your operations. List the top 3 external pressures currently hitting your business or career, whether that's market friction, team capacity, or personal energy drain. Next to each, assign 2 numbers from 1 to 5. The first is your risk score, where 1 is entirely manageable and 5 is a critical threat. The second is your tuned mass damper score. Your TDM score maps the strength of the internal systems designed to absorb that specific shock. 1 means your system is non existent. 5 means it's completely hardened and working perfectly. Secondly, look at your authority. Rate the sheer depth of your expertise on a scale of 1 to 5. That is your confidence score. 1 means you feel unsteady, 5 means you are sure and confident in your positioning and presentation. Next, look at your digital footprint, your visual assets, and your asynchronous pipelines. Rate the permanent structure you've built to display that genius without you needing to show up and scream for attention. That is your authority TM score. If your intellectual confidence is a 5, but your structural support is a 1, your authority is leaking, and you are running on raw, unsustainable willpower. Your authority and your brilliance don't need to stay hidden, and your growth isn't dependent on overly rigid systems that actually do more harm in the long run. To withstand much of what this world will throw at you personally and professionally, we must build the supports and systems that keep us resilient yet flexible. I look forward to building more enterprise and personal brands that are intentionally built to sway and built to endure. I invite you to join me in the quiet room for our weekly signal briefings at builttosway.com. That's built2sway.com. Until next time, the build continues. Stay high key.